praises go to the most high, high, high.
All praise. What's going on, y'all? All praise.
Yeah, that's right. It's your boy from Judah.
Get myself situated. Let me get myself situated. All praise to the Most High. What's going on, y'all? This is but all praise to the Most High. What's going on, y'all? This is your boy Abiah, Sabbath out, Moreh, and the host Abiah, whatever you want to call me. It's grammatically better to call me Abiah, but still better to call it. But all praise to the Most High. This is the Sabbat talk, and we on here just about to build and have a little conversation, man. And, try to get to the week, understand what is being said, what the Most High requires. Each and every topic conversation that we have, because there is a requirement of the Most High. Like, and a lot of people try to, I guess they hate it or whatever, or, try to minimize the requirement, what I'm saying, of the Most High. But we definitely about to get into this. So my first verse I wanted to talk about was Isaiah chapter 29, verse 13. Hold on, let me get my phone. My handy dandy.
You're breaking. You're going in. You're going in and out.
I'm going in and out.
Yep.
Hold on.
Yep. You're going in and out.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I hear you perfectly now.
Okay. Yeah. I got my TV on, and it was probably like interfering. But Isaiah chapter 29, verse 13. I'm gonna just read it real quick, and then we just gonna have a discussion about it, because I was reading it earlier, and I even made a post about it, but it kind of resonated with me, Hold on, let me get to it, guys. This ain't it. But how everybody doing today? I'll pray. How you doing today, bro? I'll praise to the Most High. Shabbat shalom. How's it going for you? How was your week? Achi'ka?
Oh, I'm sorry, brother. I was trying to find this thing. My week was fairly well. We just finished doing the Day of Atonement. We kept Yom Kippur. I don't know. Do you guys observe Yom Kippur?
Yeah. I always wondered, like a lot of people, they always do it at different times, like, and it can get confusing. You know what I'm saying? If you trying to, if you watching everybody and want to, and especially doing it in a congregation. You know what I'm saying?
It's still breaking up. He's still breaking up. Yeah, it's kind of going in and out. Yeah, I can hear you, but it's going in and out.
Oh man, what's going on with my microphone today?
Can't hear you now at all. Can't hear you at all. Zippo.
All right, can you hear me now?
I hear you now, nice and clear. Yeah.
All right, cool. But yeah, it gets kind of confusing to do it when you like a part of a congregation or have like or watch different congregations and they all doing it at different times. Like, and I always wanted to know like what made people think that they was doing it at the right time on the right situation. Like, if we all was like don't agree on it, you know what I'm saying?
Well, okay, so let's just look at it this way. We're in exile, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, and pretty much everybody does things differently. Like people keep the Sabbath differently. You know, some people don't even use their microwave. They still eat cold cereal and, you know, peanut butter and jelly sandwiches or tuna sandwiches, and they don't heat up their food. Some people don't go outside of their house on the Shabbat. Some people feel like if they go for a walk, that they're breaking Yah Shabbat. There's all these
Right.
different ideas, and the reason why that is happening is because there is no true leadership within the community of the people, right?
Right.
So
Right.
we read it, and based on what they know and what their understanding is, they'll start saying stuff that's, you know, how they see it. You know, like again, I get in trouble all the time because I tell people that they say that they're blessed, and I'm like, no, you're not. They're like, what do you mean? It's like, you're not blessed. You're actually cursed. Well, how can you be cursed? Well, the Most High said you're cursed. Well, the
Right.
Most High is mad at me. He's doing good stuff for me. The Most High is angry at us. They don't like that. So it's how we interpret it and how we want it to be. So going back to your point about Day of Atonement, regardless, to some people may have kept the Day of Atonement yesterday and the day before and the day before and last week.
Right.
I think we need to understand that regardless to what people are doing, you got to look at their heart. You literally have to. And there's a scripture that tells us that that's what the Most High is looking for. He's looking for whether or not our hearts have been right. So whether they keep it on the day that they're supposed to or the following day or the next day, doesn't matter. It
Right.
really doesn't matter. As long as they're not saying that they're making an offering to the Most High, and as long as they're not saying that they're a priest, as long as they're not saying anything that is prescribed for that in particular judgment, like on the Day of Atonement, there's supposed to be an offering made. There's supposed to be fire offerings made. There's no offering being made. On the Day of Atonement, there's supposed to be a blowing of the shofar by someone who's officiated to be able to do that. It's been authorized to do that. You understand? So because we don't have we're not in our land, there's a lot of confusion. But I like to take the place of saying, you know what, I'm not going to judge anybody because of that.
Right.
I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to say what they're doing is wrong. I don't care if they kept it last week. I don't care if they kept it this week. I don't care if they keep it when I kept it. I don't care, you know, in what manner. As long, I don't even care whether or not they decided not to their understanding is like, don't fast. You know, some people are going around saying in Isaiah chapter number 58 that lines you up to how, you know, you're supposed to do the Day of Atonement. You don't even supposed to fast. Some people say that. How they see it. So the first thing that comes to my mind is saying, hold on first. Shabbat Shalom. The first thing that comes to my mind is he says that you guys are doing things the way that you want to do it. While you right here in the wilderness, you're doing it the way that you see it. That's right in your own eyes. You're not going to do that when you get back to the land.
Right.
So that's where we're at. So people are just doing what they wanted, what they feel like they should be doing, you know. But that's Yah is concerned about the heart. What kind of mind? Because that's what heart is in Hebrew. It's your mind. So what kind of mindset do you have? Are you really afflicted? Are you really saying you're sorry for what your ancestors did? Do you really understand what atonement means? Or are you just doing this because you're going through the motions? You know?
Right.
So
do you think that a lot of brews do it just because they go through the motions, like just going through the motions because they scared of not doing it?
Yeah, I think, well, it's because they're ignorant. They don't really know. They really don't know. I'm gonna be honest with you, they don't. A lot of people I talk to, they don't know. And that's I think that's the challenge, but also it's a tragedy because our people really don't know. They're miseducated about what the expectation is, and they don't have good teachers. So you can't, you know, you can blame them to a certain degree, but you know, Yah knows that if you think about it, the Most High says that his people need leadership. Yah's people need leadership. That's what they don't, you know, doing it on your own is not really good. You know, that's why you need to join up with a group or community or organization or whatever you need to that's around you, or get online and look for people who are telling you the truth, who understand what's being said and how it's being spoken, and you can evaluate them and take in consideration what they're saying, and do your own due diligence and your homework to find out whether what they're saying is true or not, and whether that they can be trusted. And one of the things that you want to make sure about is anybody that you're dealing with, you want to make sure that they're going to say, "Thus saith Yah."
Right.
If they're not saying "Thus saith Yah" and they're telling you what they believe, then there's a problem.
Right. And that's where that Isaiah chapter 29 verse 13 come in there.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of us have been taught, and the Most High said it, but a lot of us have been taught and are still being taught the fear of the Most High from men. And when you look at how that's nasty work, man, for real. That's real nasty work, because brother, we never was like, I don't like, and I have nothing against Morehs. I have nothing against teachers. I love the fact that the brothers out here teaching and stuff like that. But the one thing that we had I always asked a lot of Morehs, and they always like try to, sidestep this point. When we look at Deuteronomy 6, and it tells us what to do with the law and who to teach it to. You know what I'm saying? We know that we only see that we're supposed to teach it to our children. Now, I understand that, that we do need, teachers that have that, that wisdom passed down from Yah to, interpret the Torah or give us the Torah in a layman's type of sense. You know what I'm saying? But I do definitely say that like you can't sit here and try to teach your brother if your house ain't in order. If you ain't doing what you're supposed to be doing for your household, your children out here acting a fool, your wife acting crazy, it's just all crazy. You can't teach a congregation. One of my elders used to say that you don't have to be perfect to teach the Torah, you just have to teach it perfectly. And I used to always be like, yeah, I get that. Like, but it was taught to us and said so much that I started, after so long, you start to believe and stuff. So I'm like, I don't know about that. Like, now it's like you gotta have a perfect heart and perfect intention to really teach the Torah, because you can mislead people. You could take them down to take them to a level in life or a path that the Most High didn't even want them to be on. And you know what I'm saying? And that's double, like, because it's like, why did you listen to this person? And then for you, why did you teach this person this? Why did you speak falsely in my name? And the Most High, he always talks about that. Everybody, people talking falsely in his name. Falsely in his name. Don't teach what you don't know, what you don't understand. And a lot of brothers and sisters, they teach what they don't know and don't understand.
Well, let's deal with that Deuteronomy chapter number 6.
Okay.
Yeah, let's just speak on it briefly. I know what you're asking. It says, beginning in verse number 20, I don't have it up here, but I know it by heart. It says, when your children are asked, was that mine or yours? Yeah, it's mine, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's in Isaiah 29. Let's just go right there right quick, and we'll come back to Isaiah right quick in a second. Let's address this idea behind who's responsible for teaching the Torah, right? And who do you supposed to teach and so forth? And are there really people who are qualified to do such a thing?
Mm-hmm.
All valid points. Okay. One of the things that we're told is that just to give some context, Moshe taught the children of Israel the Torah.
Right.
He expounded upon it. right? You can see right here is teach your children. Right there. Teach your children. All right, so this is Moshe telling them what they need to do when they go into the land. That's in context. And it says there's going to come a time when your son is going to ask you, what is all the meaning of all this? Okay. Right? 20, when ask your son, reading from right to left, when Yishalaka your vinka in the time to come in the Machar, saying that Lemor ma de ha'edot. Okay, so the ha'edot right here is they call the testimonies. And if you don't know what the testimonies are the witnesses that Yah has given, which you would call the 10 words. We went over last week or the week before, or in several weeks, the covenant. The Edot is the testimonies, and the testimonies are the words that were spoken by Yah. What is written is the covenant, but the reason why they call it testimonies is because the children of Israel heard the Most High speaking to them out from the mountain. And because they heard it, it made them witnesses to his testimony. Okay. Right. So this is what we're talking about. And then it's, of course, the statutes and the judgments, which are the decrees and the rulings that the Most High had. He said, commanded Yahweh Elohim. And then he goes into telling him why and gives an explanation about what happened in Egypt and so forth and so on. Right. So he said, you're supposed to do this. But this is literally saying that your child is going to ask you, why are we doing these things? The only thing that you're supposed to teach them in this context is about the reason why you should do what the Most High said. This is not about not teaching them the Torah.
Okay.
This is not about that. This is about when your child asks you. Okay. Remember in Hebrew, I told you that, and I'll explain to everyone, this symbol right here tells us that the conversation in verse number 19 is in line with verse number 20, but it's a changing of the subject. They're changing, right? So before in verse number 19, he's talking about something totally different than what he's talking about in 20. Okay. Right. If we just read 19 right quick, it just says, and to cast out your enemy, let me see, 18. You do what is right and just in the sight of Yahweh, may go well with you and may go well and you possess the land that he swore to give to your fathers. You're going to cast out all your enemies before you. Then he changes the subject, as you can see. And when he asks you, your son, that's completely different. Completely different subject. So, casting out your enemies and then talking about your son is two different things. All right. So chapter number 6 is not telling you that you're teaching your children. Actually, the word teach is not even mentioned. Ever. Lamed is not mentioned nowhere in here.
Right.
It is giving a recount on why you're doing what you're doing. Because the question is he's going to ask you, saying, Ma, right here. What? That's what Hebrew means. Ma, what? What is the meaning of all this? Because it's unknown to your child. And then what you're going to tell your child is not what you're going to teach your child. You're going to tell your child what Yahweh did for you in Egypt. Verse 21, and you shall say to your son, slaves we existed as, we were to Pharaoh and Egypt. And Yahweh brought us out. So are you teaching them this? Or are you telling them? You're sharing with them why. So the first you're sharing with them is Pesach. Correct?
Right.
Because that's when he brought you out. He brought you out after Pesach. You're talking about matzot, the feast of matzah, right here. You're telling him he brought you out. You're telling him that you were a slave. You're telling him that Yah showed all types of signs and wonders. Is that the Torah? Verse 22? No.
That's just a recount and retelling, yeah.
Yeah, is it the Torah that he brought you out that he might bring us to give us this land and he swore to our fathers Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob? Is that the Torah? Is that the instructions?
No, it was just part of the covenant. Yeah.
Right. Well, yeah, no, it's the covenant he made with our fathers. He's saying that he brought us out of Egypt in order to give us what he promised our fathers, which he swore nishba, la avote tenu, right? So, and then he says he commanded, and then he's still talking to his son and said he commanded us. La assault, that we should do all the kukim. There's no mention about lament. There's no learning here. I want you to do what I told you. I want you to do all the kukim, the decrees, and I want you to fear me, Yahweh Eloheka, for the good, right? To Lanu, for all of your days, and you would stay alive as it is this day. And then he's going to tell them that Usadakwa, that this is righteousness, is shall tiye be unto Lanu, to us. Ki, if we nishmor to la asot to call all the hamitzvot hazot, lifnei de Yahweh Eloheinu the kadeshet zivanu, which is to say, if we are careful to guard and to do all of the commandment of this command of the kukim and the mishpatim, then Yahweh Elohim will count that as our righteousness. But he's not teaching them anything about the Torah. He's not teaching them anything about the kukim. He's not teaching anything about the mishpatim. He's not teaching nothing in chapter number 6.
So one would say that. So with that understanding, one would say that the only ones that were commissioned to teach was our Levites.
Well, yes, they were commissioned to teach, right? And so you're 100% spot on. And there were certain times that they were to do that. And what we find is in the book of Deuteronomy, and I believe it's after the 7 years, he tells them, he says, you're going to bring all these people out so they can learn to fear me. Okay.
Right.
And let me show right quick. Let me see. Let's just go right here. And I want to teach the people properly. All right. So are you a Levite? No, I'm not a Levite. What's a Moreh? We need to talk about a Moreh too, by the way. We need to let people know what a Moreh is. It's just not a teacher.
Right.
Okay. So Deuteronomy chapter number, here it is, chapter number 31. We'll just keep it in context, make it easy for the people so they don't get confused by reading from right to left. Right here in Deuteronomy chapter number 31. Okay. Verse number 12. 31 and 12. It says right here. Let's start at 10. Well, no, let's start right there at 9. And Moshe wrote down this Torah, HaTorah. He wrote it and he gave it to the Kohanim. That's the priest, the descendants of Levi, who carried the Ark of the Covenant, which is the testimonies of Yahweh, and to the leaders of Israel. Moshe gave them these orders at the end of every 7 years during the festival of Sukkot, which is the time in which you and I are about to go to on Yom Shani this year, of this week coming up, which they would know as Monday, is the feast of Sukkot. Every 7 years on the year of Shemitah, the time of release, which you can find this in Deuteronomy chapter number 15, when all the leaders or all Yisrael have come to appear, all Yisrael will come to appear in the presence of Yahweh at the place where he will choose, the Hamakom, which he would choose, the Yivkar, and you will read all this Torah before all Israel, so that they can hear it. Assemble the people, the men, the women, and the little ones, the foreigners you have in your town, so they can hear, learn, fear Yahweh, your Elohim, and take care to obey all the words of this Torah, so that their children who have not known can hear and learn to fear Yahweh, your Elohim. As for you, as long as you live in the land, you are crossing the Jordan, right? So every reason is every 7 years because some little children are so little that they're not going to understand what they're hearing. They might be 3 years old when they get there. Do they remember the Torah? No.
Right.
7 years from that, they're 10 years old. Will they hear it? Yes. If they're 2 years old, 7 years later, 9, 1 years old, baby, 7 years, they can understand it. So Yah ensures that the children will be able to understand it. And the people who are teaching them is the Kohanim. Now, are the mother and the father teaching the children? Yes. They are teaching them. They're teaching them how to live in the house. They're teaching them what they should not do. Okay. But what is it that he told them to do? Going back to Deuteronomy chapter number 6, he tells us what to do, what the father and the mother and who's responsible for what's going on in the house. Chapter number 6 again begins with saying, now this commandment, okay, the laws and the rulings which Yahweh Elohim has ordered me to teach you. That's Moshe telling them that Yah ordered me to teach you. For you to obey in the land you're crossing to possess. So you will fear Yahweh, observe all his regulations and commandments or mitzvot that I'm giving you, your children, and your grandchildren, as long as you live. Right? You'll have a long life. Therefore, listen, Israel, take care to obey so that things will go well with you and you will increase greatly as Yahweh Elohim, your ancestors, promised you by giving you a land flowing with milk and honey. This is the command. Shema Yisrael, Yahweh Eloheinu, Yahweh Echad. Hear Yisrael, Yahweh Elohim, Yahweh is one. And it tells you to love Yahweh Eloheka with all your heart, with all your soul, and all your resources. And he says, these words, which I am ordering you today, are to be on your heart. And you to teach them carefully to your children. What words? Shema Yisrael. I'm teaching you this word today. These words, which I'm ordering you today, are to be on your heart. What words? Shema Yisrael. Yahweh Eloheinu, Yahweh Echad. If your child does not know this, then you're in trouble.
Wow, I never looked at it like that. That's deep. So
are to teach them carefully to your children.
And you know what? It's a lot of other scriptures that are read, that you read it just like that. Like you read the scripture, but you gotta understand what was said before to know what was being said now. Like that's deep. I never looked at that scripture like that, to where he was saying the Shema is what you need to be teaching your children.
Yeah,
I stand corrected.
Yes.
Praise God.
Then he says, when you are to talk about them, what are you supposed to be talking about? Are you going to be talking about all the Torah when you're walking? You're going to be talking to them about how to, the agricultural Torah, the instructions there. You're going to be talking to them about the offerings. What are you going to be talking to them about? He says, when you sit at your home and when you travel on the road, you are lay down and when you get up. That is in every area of your life. You need to tie them as a sign and put them on the frontlet of your forehead. And you need to write them on the door frames of your house and on your gates. What? All the Torah? No. Shema Yisrael, Yahweh Eloheinu, Yahweh Echad. Wa'ahavta ef Yahweh Eloheka kol levavika nuva kol nafshika nuva kol meodeka. Wa'hayu dahadavarim ha'ele asher anoki de matzavika de all levavika. That shall be upon your heart. All the words, and ele, ha'ele, all these words which I am matzavika de hayom, all levavika, to be on your heart. So if you don't know the Shema, and you're not talking about the Shema when you're traveling, you're not talking about the Shema before you go to bed, you're not talking about the Yah is one, and you're not telling your children to love Yahweh, you're not telling your children to give him their souls. Do you understand? And you write them on the door frames of your house. The Shema, the gates around your house.
When I used to go to class, this was a big debate right here. The last couple verses to this. When it says that you write it on your gates, you wear it as frontlets, and you bind it on your hand. And a lot of people was saying, and I believe that you wore like a frontlet, like you wore something on your forehead. I did, and I used to make like what I call them binders, but they were called teflons. And I used to make the ones that went up over your arm too, but I didn't have like the box right there. The like when you prayed, it went to that's some Jewish stuff. But I had one. I made one for a brother that went around his arm, and I put the Shema on it. Like I engraved it in the leather. Like it was pretty dope. Actually, like I wish I still like had a picture of it. Like it was pretty dope. And but I remember when I did it, and we used to wear them, and it was like, half our class would wear them, the other half was like, that ain't what it's saying, and this and this and that. And the Moreh, my Moreh, Yim, I love that brother, man. He's a inspiration, and he's a good teacher. But he was like, he stayed fast on it, like, man, that ain't what it's saying, wearing no frontlets on your forehead and binding, because his stance was that the Most High told us how to build things and make things that he wanted us to wear and have, like as far as the ZZs and, what I'm saying, and how we did the linen miter and all that stuff. I mean, the gold miter and all that, and with the chest plate and all that. And it made sense what he was saying, but then it made sense what the other Moreh Yoel, rest in peace. He used to say that sometimes the Most High didn't speak. It wasn't a literal thing. Sometimes he did speak literally. It wasn't like, a metaphor or, something that he was just telling you like to wear it on your forehead and bind it. And, like you just wear it on you wear it on your forehead, like you have it on your mind type of thing. He was like, it was literal. And, so I stood on the stance, and I'm not even gonna lie. I kind of like capitalized because it was an untapped market. So brothers and sisters was getting them, and but wasn't nobody making them, so I was the only one making them. Like, so it was an untapped market, so I was killing them like through the whole city. People was buying them from me and stuff like that. I was getting orders from over the state, out state and stuff like that. So it was like, I kind of capitalized. I think I was like, I feel now I look back on it, it was like I was kind of dead wrong for that. Like not dead wrong, but like I guess my intention at that time was like, what I'm saying, like maybe I should have well, I was doing it because I thought that I was keeping the law. So, and I wanted my brothers and sisters to do it, but I also agreed with, with the other Moreh, with the elder Moreh, and his stance. Like sometimes I would wear, sometimes I wouldn't. Like, but like it that was a big topic of discussion when it came up, and it caused debates at times too, like, but they were healthy, but it's good to get down to the nitty gritty of the Torah. You know what I'm saying? So what's your take on it? That's what I want to know. What's your take on it?
My take on it is that the idea of it being a totafot, because that's what it's really called, a totafot. It's supposed to be on the frontlets, which is the totafot of your head, right, on your mind.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be at the front of your mind, right? And when you talk about it being binding on your hand, it means the work that you do. You're always considering the Most High. So he's using these expressions to help them understand the necessity of having these words on them or on their mind constantly, right? So if it's on your frontlet of your forehead, it's always supposed to be at the front of your mind. If it's bound to your hand, it has to do with your work. Anything that you put your hands to, you always have to remember, because it talked about Achi'ka, right? Meaning that you're with all your resources. So you are hafta Yahweh, meaning to love Yahweh with all of your lavavika, with that's all your mind, and then of course your nafshika. So I have up here here in the Hebrew, which I think everyone should learn and memorize, which is talking about the command. So Shema is a command. So that's why you know that it's a command, because it's in an imperative. Okay. But also, too, I want to place an IMP, which is an imperative in the grammar. It lets you know that this is not a suggestion or a recommendation. It is literally a command. Okay. And I'm going to explain to you the reason why this is important. Okay.
Okay.
The command is that, but here, just to keep everything in context,
right?
What we're going to look at is it begins in verse number 4, right? So when we look at our writings in the ancient Hebrew, remember I told you that this right here is letting us know that this verse number 3 is a whole nother topic. So verse 3 doesn't go with verse number 4. They're closing. 3 is closed. It ends. The last word right here ends that conversation, udavash, meaning honey. And then this right here says it's time to open up another discussion, because that letter pay right there is a Hebrew, means the opening of a mouth, as you can see descriptive letter, right? Because that's a Hebrew pay, which is a Hebrew letter pay, and pay means mouth. It means to open. That's what this letter means. It means to open. Okay. See, that's why it has an opening.
Wow, that's deep. So. And this is not a side note, but I don't mean to interrupt you, but that's deep. That just to let people know how deep our language is. People say that people say that the biblical Hebrew is Yiddish, but I don't think they understand what Yiddish is and what it looks like. And
yeah, they don't. Yeah, they don't know it. It's an excuse, right?
Right. It's an excuse to not have to study and really dig into it, because like I always said, how can you say you a Hebrew Israelite or an Israelite and you don't study the language, the culture, the heritage, none of that, and you don't live it? You know what I'm saying? So a lot of us don't. A lot of us, just I guess faking the funk or whatever. But our language is so deep. Like it's so deep. It describes itself, and it describes actions, places, and things with just one letter. And what knowing, like what the olive represents, or if you look at the bed and it represents a house, and you know what I'm saying, or the olive is like a teacher, and if you turn it, if you add a certain vowel point to it, it's aloof, and it turns into master teacher. You know what I'm saying? Like it's so it is so in depth with our language. When you apply it to Torah and you read the Torah with our language, it's like you learn something new. Just like with that Shema, you just like open me up to that. Like wow, like I never looked at it like that. But it took for somebody to have a difference of opinion. Like, hold on, like because if I would have been in another situation, they probably would have disagreed with it, because it would have been it is what we've been taught. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what I've been taught.
Yes.
Yeah, for you to open me up like that, it was like, okay, all praises.
So remember, I said based on what we're taught, so we can't be angry at each other because of the things that we've been taught. What we need to do is just be open-minded to understand. Like, for example, the reason why I'm showing you this letter and showing it is simply because I'm letting you know that the conversation in verse number 3 is separate from verse number 4. The subject has changed completely. Right. It's a whole nother teaching, right? So now that the conversation is opening up in verse number 4, I'm going to look and say, okay, well, verse 4 goes with verse 5. There's no division. Verse 5 goes with 6. So 4, 5, and 6 go together. 4, 5, 6, and 7 goes together. 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 goes together. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 goes together. Oops. And at the end of 9, there is another letter right there called a stuma. And that stuma right here means that it's time for me to pause. Now, instead of me changing the subject, I'm just going to change some of the details that have to do with this subject. So I'm not going to be talking about this commandment in this way. I'm going to switch it up now. It's still going to have something it's going to be relatable. So verse number 10 relates to verse number 9, right? But it's changing. It's just changing. So for example, we're talking about breaks. Say verse number 4 through 9 is talking about breaks. And I'm talking about different aspect of breaks. I'm talking about brake pads, right? Then in verse number 10, I would be talking about brakes, but now I'm talking about brake calipers.
Right.
Do you understand what I'm saying? So let's just imagine we're talking about tires in verse number 4 through 9. I'm just describing the tires. I'm describing what type of material it is from verses 4 through 9. Then I'm still talking about tires in verse number 10, but now I'm going to change and talk about the tread and why the tread is the way that it is. Then in verse number 15 to 16, I'm going to be talking about the lifespan of the tread. So I'm changing the subject, but then when I got to another a pay, meaning now that the subject is going to change, I'm no longer going to talk about tires. Now I'm going to talk about something like trees. I'm going to talk about something completely different. This is important to understand because when you're reading and you're studying, we've been accustomed to just reading things and just reading it and reading it and reading it and never knowing where the divisions are.
Right.
So we don't know where the separation is. So somebody reading this would read verse number 1, 2, and 3, and 4 and 5 and says all go together because it's in the same chapters. Chapter number 6 is talking about the same thing. No, it's not. So this is where we're having our problems in our teaching because people don't know this. They don't know where the divisions are. They don't know the grammar. They don't know how to separate thought. They don't know how to do that. So they conflate everything. They jumble everything together. And then you get a lot of misinterpretation and misinformation.
Right. I hope that answered your question, Brother Vince. He asked, will you see the letter pay at the end of each verse to know that it closes a verse? And I think you answered that.
Yeah. Right. Well, yeah, it closes it, but it opens. But the mouth needs to open. So when you see it, it means that it's that subject that was prior to that is closed, and then the mouth means now I'm going to open up and speak about something different. Now we're going to open up a whole nother topic.
And that's why it's facing that way. The Psalmic is facing that way. It faces that way anyway, but that's just how it's facing that way. Even to look at it, it's like, oh, it's facing that way. The mouth is the open part is facing another topic, and it's closing. It's turning its back on the other one. So that makes sense.
Yeah, the other one is turned like this. Samak right here. What that letter means is to turn. Yeah, that's all. It's just in the shape of it. It's like a circle, right? It looks like a circle. It's a turn. It's going around. So what we're going to do is we're going to keep going around in the teaching that we're talking about. It's just changing another aspect of the topic. Right. If I'm talking about plants, I begin to first talk about plants that are outside. The second part of the teaching about plants would be plants that live on the inside. Third, how plants grow. Fourth, what you should feed the plants to break it up, right? So that's what that really means. So when it says that I'm giving you this command, in verse number 4, it says I'm commanding you. That is a commandment. Shema right there is a command.
Right.
Okay, it's an imperative. And because it's an imperative, it means that I'm giving you a command. This is the command. That is the command. So what he's teaching and saying that you need to teach your children is this command. This command that Yahweh is our Elohim, that he is one. Okay. Now, that is not the only thing that you can see in this. Okay. What you need to look at is the last letter here, and I'll make it larger, of the command. And you need to look at the last letter that's mentioned.
Right.
And when you put those two letters together, you got an ayin, which means the eye in Hebrew, and you got a D, a dalet, which is a door, the eye of the door.
Right.
So when you say the eye of the door, right, that means that you are a witness. The person able to see, because in Hebrew, an aid is a witness. When these two letters, when this letter and this last letter is put together, it means witness. So basically, the command is for you to say that you are to listen and obey Israel, that Yahweh Elohim, Yahweh is one. You are testifying and you're becoming a witness that there is no one else except for Yah. There's only one. That's what you are. That's the command. That is the command.
Man, I love our language because it just opens up so much of a deeper and richer understanding to to the scripture, like how you just brought that out, like with the so do yeah, that's deep, man. Like I said, you basically we are witnesses. That's deep.
Yeah, man. But it's even deeper. So that's one part of it, right? So let's look at another part of it. Now, the reason why he's given the command, who's he giving the command to? He's giving the command to Yisrael. Well, if you look at Yisrael, it's consisted of a Yod, right, which is represented by the letter Y, and then you have the S, right, which is the Sheen, and then you have the Resh, which is the R, and then you have the A, which is represented by the Aleph, and then the Lamed. Okay, so, and this first letter right here means he.
Right.
Okay. And then it's going to tell you this word right here is sar. In Hebrew, that's a word. It means to turn. And then the last part is El. So it could be he turns to El. That's what Israel is. Or it can reverse it and said El turns
to him. Wow.
Turns him, not to him, turns him.
Oh,
so
wow.
What is he turning him from? He's turning from the idea that there's anybody else except for Yahweh. He's turning from the idea that there's many other gods. There's only one.
Wow.
And when you turn to Yahweh, Yahweh is saying that I'm the only one. And that is the command. Okay. Now, that's not it though.
Okay.
That's not it. So we look at Yahweh's name. So we found out what Yisrael's name is. Now we look at Yahweh's name. The letter again, the first letter is he, Yod. This part, Hawa right here means to exist. So he exists. So when you're turning to Yahweh, you're saying he who exists, he's one. The one who exists is one. He's not many. So this destroys the idea of multiple gods.
Right.
Okay? Then they'll say, well, it says here that he's a masculine plural, common, meaning that there's more than one because it's Eloheinu. So that means extra gods, right? No, he's not saying that. He's saying that he's our power. When you look at the word Eloah right here, it means power. El means power.
Yeah.
So when it's multiplicity of multiple masculine plural, that P is for plural and the C is for common, just like the C right here is for common and plural, right? So that would be the noon. That means us as a group of people. He's our powers. So he's not just a power, he's powers. So what power is he? Where's he the powers of? Well, the Aleph is an ox, and the Lamed is the shepherd's staff. So when you got that together, it's the power of the staff, the power to teach. The power of the staff is to teach the ox which way to go. So he's our powers. What powers? Why is it multiple? Why is it plurality? Because he's the power of the sun. He's the power of the moon. He's the power of the stars. He's the power of the winds. He's the power of the earth. He's the power of the soil. He's the power of the fruits. He's the power of everything. He's the power to defeat our enemies. He's our powers. And he's only Echad. Well, why is it that he's Echad? Is it one? He's just one? What does one mean? Well, you look at it, it has the Aleph again, meaning the strength. And then, of course, the second letter is the Kate, which has to do with the wall. And the next one is the door. So I know this is a child root. And this letter right here is the child. And these two right here are the parents. So Chad is the actual root, the parent root. So when these two letters together, it means to behold the door, to see the door. That's what it means to see the door. Okay.
Mm.
God, to see the door. So when I'm doing that, right, and he says, okay, to see the door. What door? The strong door. The strength is the aleph and the Akkad is the door.
Yeah.
To see the door. I need to see the strength that's at the door. What door? The door of the tabernacle. That makes me to hear this door that's written in Akkad is a door that's found in the tent. And this aleph right, or this iron right here, is to witness that. That was make you a witness because you're going back and forth like Moses to the tabernacle to go receive the word from Yah.
Mm.
That makes you a witness. And what's inside of the tent? The covenant is in the gold box that you're going back and forth to go find out. Every time Moses had to go find out something, he would go back and forth to the tent of meeting. When the children of Israel were called to assemble, they assembled at the tent of meeting. They're going back and forth to the tent of meeting, testifying and witnessing that Elohim is there and that he's one. When you're a witness, you got to witness whatever's written inside the 10 words. Zakor ef yom naha Shabbat. You are to remember that the Sabbath. That's when you go back and you keep the Sabbath. You are saying that you are a witness to what was in that gold box. That Yah said that.
Mm.
Testimony. That's what it is. So there's a lot in Shema Yisrael Yahweh Eloheinu Yahweh Echad. Your children need to know this part of it as long as the others.
Yes.
So going through and your child about an offering or talking to your child about, how you're supposed to wash after you have sex, or if you go take a boo-boo outside and you're in the war, you're supposed to go dig a hole. They'll learn all that when they get out there. He's talking about this command. See? So that's how they understood it. The way that we understand it, these are just words, Listen, Israel, God is one. Is that what we really think that is saying? Please. We're confused. This is a very important command. And then he goes on. And the biggest part of this is obeying and listening. To what? To this command right here, that Yahweh Elohim is one. That's what you need to listen to. That's what you need to understand. And because he's one, you can dedicate your love. That's what that ta right there is. Ta. Ahavta. What ahavta? You can love him. Sing with singularity of mind. Because your love and your devotion is not divided. And what is love? Is it what they told us it is? Is it sexual love? Is it friendship love? Is it family love? Is it all the Greek definitions of love? No. When you look at it, again, the word is called ahav. But it said ahavta. That ta right there is you. But ahav is the word. Okay? Ahav. But I know that the aleph is the child of this 3-letter root. So if that's the child, here's my parents of that word. In Hebrew, there's parents and there's children. So in Hebrew, the parents are the hey and the bet. Those are the parents. Just like Akkad was the ket and the dalet. That's the parents. The child is that 3rd letter, which is the aleph. So what does the parent's name mean? Well, the hey means to behold. That means to look and behold. The next one is what? The house, the tent, the family.
Mm-hmm.
So when one says they love someone or loving the Most High, they're going to look towards the house. Look towards what house? Look towards the tent. What tent? The tent of meeting, where he lives and where he abides, that controls his family. You're always looking in your hay, behold, looking towards the tent,
right,
where Yahweh lives alone. That's why nobody was in there with him. He told David, yeah, I know you want to make me a tabernacle, but guess what? I've always lived in a what? I've always lived in a tent.
Right. Like
You understand?
you ain't doing nothing for real, for real. Like that's crazy. The Most High was even humble. Like he didn't need a grand thing. He just told he told them to do it because that's what they wanted. But he was like, I always been in the tent. I've been chilling. That's deep.
When have I ever asked you? When have I ever asked you? When have I ever asked you? Wow. When he gave the plans to Moshe in chapter number 25 of Exodus, he never mentioned anything about a temple. He said it's a tent. He loves the curtains. He loves the connections. He loves the beams. He loves all that. And he loves the separation. He loves it all. Do you understand? The badger skin and the purple and the tekalith and the argamon and the tolaath, right? The red and the crimson.
We got the brother Vince. He had a couple questions. I want you to answer them. Here we go.
Absolutely.
This a decent one right here.
Yeah. Does that breakdown of the Hebrew letters of Israel, as we saw, meant he turns to El, applied to all the words in Hebrew? In regards to applying to all the words in Hebrew, I would say, in terms of how they're constructed, there are words that are constructed that are composed of, like for the word Israel, right? Yisrael is composed of compound words like the yod and the sar and ye, sar, el. Yeah, there's compound words. That's one. There's other words like reuven, meaning to see the sun, reuven, right? Reu, meaning to see, and vein is sun, reuven, right? So there's compound. There are compounds. Yes.
That's a little bit better. I mean, my bad. I ain't read the whole thing. I should have put that one up right after.
Meaning, can we break down the Hebrew letters in a word to understand a deeper meaning of the word? Yeah, absolutely. That's what I'm saying. Absolutely. You're spot on, 100%. Definitely. So that's the key to understanding, because if you notice, Yahweh uses his name in other people's names. Yeah. So they're compound words. So when we look at words, you have to break them down. If you're just looking at them and accepting what they're offering to us, then you're just going to say, oh, ahav means love. But you don't understand that those letters mean to look towards the house. And a matter of fact, the I right there, the aleph means I. That means I. It could be used as in grammatical as a tool of representing I, number one. So you can say the first thing is, that's why he says to love Yahweh, to love et Yahweh. The first thing that should be in your mind in order to be an effective witness is to say that I love Yah and I love him alone. There is no one else.
No one else, right?
Do you see? So, and your et right there is directly pointing you to another aleph point, and that means strong mark. That aleph is strong, strength, talking about the ox. And then this letter right here is the tav, meaning a marker sign. So this is where the direction, they call it a direct object marker, which is pointing you to the direction of where your love, where the verb of your action is supposed to be directed. It's supposed to be, that's why it's called a direct object marker, because it's supposed to direct your love, direct this action towards who? Towards Yahweh alone. That's what this is about. See? Your Eloheka, personal, your Eloheka. That's a compound word right there. Eloheka, right there. You see? We could take this and just turn to the word El right here. Strength and power right here. We can add more substance to it by that hey right there. That right there gives you more of a plurality to it, more power. And the ka personalized, it makes it your possession that you have. When you got a ka on something, that's the palm of the hand. That means that you have taken hold of Yahweh. You've grasped him. You need to hold on to him. Our love and our affection and our dedication and are looking towards him and what
Right.
is in his house. And that's the problem that we're having today.
Mm.
People don't understand this command. That's what we need to teach our children. So if we don't know it the way that we should know it, then why are you talking about other things that have to do with the Torah that have nothing to do with you? The Torah is divided into all types of instructions. We've have
Right.
just put a blanket statement and said, oh, the Torah is supposed to be taught to everybody. Right? And the Torah
Yeah.
this, Torah that. No, there's certain Torahs that apply to the women. There's certain
Yeah.
Torahs that apply to a husband. There's certain instructions that have to do with the set apart times. There's certain instructions that have to do with offerings. There's a Torah for the priest. There's a Torah for the virgin. There's a Torah for the people who's getting married. There's a Torah for war. There's a Torah for everything.
Right. So that's I stand corrected, y'all. Like I always thought that Deuteronomy 6 was telling us to just teach our children. Like, and yeah, I stand corrected. Wow. Like that's deep. Like you gotta teach that Shema. And you know, like how you broke down those letters, like the words, that's how I learned Hebrew. That's how I learned how to understand Hebrew and to dig deeper, to peel back the layers. I studied gematria a little bit too. I don't know, have you ever dibbled and dabbled? I don't know. I'm sure you done dibbled and dabbled.
Yeah, I have, and it makes sense to a degree, right? But the efficacy of it, meaning the efficiency of it, is not really applicable at this time, right?
Right.
So sometimes we go chasing after secrets that we don't really need to know. You know, Most High, there are some secrets there are secrets. There are some secrets, but here's what he wants us to know about the secret, since I mentioned it, that I think it'd be beneficial for you and I to understand. Okay.
Right.
Because it's always about what's beneficial, right? It's not always what's desirable, but what would be beneficial. Let me just put it up right here real quick. I want to tell us that there are secrets. So people hear me talk about all the time, well, oh yeah, well, you know, there's a secret that the Most High will reveal. It's not just a mystery, it's a secret. Yah has things that he doesn't tell us. There's things that he doesn't want us to know.
Right.
Okay. And there's things he do want us to know. Here it is. The last verse of chapter number 29 says this: things which are hidden belong to Yahweh, our Elohim. That word Adonai right there is Yahweh. Let me get rid of this right quick. That word Adonai right there is Yahweh. Okay. But the things that have been revealed, okay, so there are things that are hidden, and here in Hebrew it's talking about a secret. Okay. But there are secrets that have been hidden from us. But there are things that have been revealed, that have been made known, belong to us and our children forever. Why? So that we may do all the words of the Torah, of this Torah. So it just depends on where you fall at. So there's certain things about the priesthood that you and I will never understand. You know why? Because you're not from that family.
And it's not for me to understand. Right. Correct.
You don't understand it. If he wanted you to know it, he would tell you. Okay. So that's the truth.
Right.
So we're trying to figure out everything and everything about everything. And he's saying that doesn't work like that. And that becomes where you and I have that line that we're crossing between humility and pride and arrogance.
Right.
You understand? So we're trying to get a little bit more than what we should.
Yeah.
And he's saying, I don't want you to know that. So why are you keep prying? There's certain times the Most High said, be quiet. I don't want you to say another word to me, like he told Moshe. Close your mouth. Don't say another word. Don't ask me no more.
Right.
I don't have to tell you everything. You're not going to move me because you want something. That's it. So let's look at it in Hebrew. And it's a tarot. So look, Hanis tarot. Hanis tarot right here. The word in here is the sitar right here. It's plural, right? So these are secrets that are to Yahweh, our Elohim. They belong to him. They're his. But the things that are the hanigot, right? Or haniglot, like niglot, niglot, haniglot are the things that have been revealed, that are being revealed to Lanu, to us, and to Ulavenenu, to our children. Right? Look, it says odd or for. This right here is deceiving. It said Adolam. The word there again I told you earlier was an aleph and a dalet, which means a witness. Okay, that's what it means. They're using it for grammatical as a preposition, but they don't really tell you what the letters mean. It means to be a witness forever. You're a witness forever. You're not just forever. You're a witness. They're testifying forever. Why? Not that you should observe, but you shall do. La asot. You shall do infinitively. That means forever. Like there's always going to be an eyelash on an animal or a person. There's always going to be ears to hear. You don't give a tongue just so it can just eat. You give it to speak. You understand? Or swallow. That's a la asot. Okay, that's infinitive. Pointing you again directly to what? This is a direct object marker pointing you what you shall be doing, all the words of this HaTorah. The same word that is mentioned for Torah is the same word that's mentioned for Morah or Moreh, which has to do with one who's giving instructions. A Morah is a female teacher.
Right, female teacher.
If you notice, the law, they have law instructions is feminine. FS, noun, feminine singular.
Yeah.
The Torah is feminine in nature. So a Morah teaches the Torah. A woman can be a Morah. She could be a teacher. Unlike you would see in the New Testament, where women are not allowed to teach. That is not true.
Yeah, not true. Totally not true.
A Moreh, Morah, or Moreh, it's not a Moreh, actually. The sound is not A, it's Eh. Moreh. It's not Moreh, it's Moreh. Okay? It's Moreh. A Moreh is someone who's a man who can teach it. So a woman is a and a man is a Eh. So Morah, Moreh. Okay? Not Ray, Moreh. Moreh. Okay? So they teach the Torah. And what is the Torah? The Torah is to point the finger, coming from the word of fear or direction. So that's what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to point you in the right direction to go. That's what this is all about.
Right. Okay. That's deep.
Yeah.
That's deep. I like how you peel back them layers. I like how you do that. And you and you leave no stone unturned or untouched. You know, like
I get
it, it ain't no way that you could come from this and be like, man, I don't even know. Like, like you done touched on every aspect, so you can't say. There's no other, if you got questions, they answer. But for the most part, like as you talking, I'm thinking the questions and you answering them as you talking. So I'm like, well, man,
I've been told that before, and I really love the fact that the Most High has given me the ability to do that, because when I first came into this way of life, I felt really discouraged, and I felt ashamed because I was a person who used to teach things, and I only taught from the level that I knew and I understood, and I gave out misinformation. And I vowed to the Most High that if I was to take upon his teaching, I would be very thorough with it. I would not leave nothing unturned. There would not be a stone or anything that's unturned that I have any knowledge of. Now, there's some things that I will miss,
Right.
but the more that I teach, the more things become revealed to me in order for me to keep the Torah. That's the only reason why. So if I do have any insight on something, it's in order to keep the Torah.
Right.
It's no other reason. We have to
Man.
be. We have to be.
Yeah, we have to. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Like, Torah is a way of life. And my elder used to always say, you don't fashion your life. You don't fashion the Torah around your life. You fashion your life around the Torah. And
Yeah.
and you
Good job.
you definitely make sure that you're living in it, and like he said, in all your ways acknowledge him. And how can one go wrong if you do that? Like, how can you go wrong? I'm sure it's gonna be hard times and trials and tribulations and stuff like that, but how can you really go wrong in life if you
yeah, I'm sorry for cutting you off. The trials and tribulations that we're going through are there in order to shape our lives, and it only can happen through our experiences, because that's the way that he chose to design to teach man, is through experience. You actually literally have to go through it in order to have an experience. And to say the least, being a witness, if you reverse those letters, it means knowledge. So, for example, when I go back to this word here that I told you about, the ayin and the dalet, reading from right to left, the first letter is dealing with the eye, and the next one is dealing with the door. So the door of the eye. So the door of the eye is your eyelids. So when you look at your eyes right now, you close them. You can close your doors. Those are your eyelids. See? So if I reverse these letters and I would make it into a dalet, and I put the dalet first, and then I would have the second one after that, it reverses it. Instead of you being a witness, it actually is the word for knowledge. That's the first part of the word knowledge. So, and that means that I have actual experience about the things that I've seen. And the things that I've seen are the things that I experience. Is called visual observation. Right. So I actually know something by me actually experiencing it. I don't know things because I believe it. I know it because I've actually seen it. So the whole idea of believing is false. Everything that Yah has asked us to do has been because you have actually seen it, not because you believe it. And he proves that to us. He says it actually in the same chapter. Matter of fact, we're right there. If you go up here right quick, in the same chapter, he's going to tell you something. He's going to tell you exactly what it is. Okay? He gives an account of everything, but he's going to tell them that you guys are standing here today. Look, check this out. Let's begin in verse number 2. Because remember, here's the Putukat right here. What does that mean? It means that this over here is the end of that conversation, and now we're opening up to another one. That's why I'm starting at verse number 2 that tells you, it says, and Wayikra, and called Moshe to El Kol Yisrael. He called to all of Israel, and Wayomer, and he said to Elohim, the Atem, you guys, plural, you plural, right? Second person, you have seen. You have seen. The first part of this word, whoever's listening, is re'eh, right here. Okay? Tem, meaning you, plural, right here. Second person, masculine, plural. He's talking to them. Moshe's first person, their second person. He's talking to the group of Israel, and he's saying, you guys have seen, not you have believed. You seen what? Pointing, what did they see? They said you saw all. You saw call, everything in which the Asher, the Asah, he has done, Yahweh. You've seen everything that Yahweh has done. With what? In your eyes. the eyes of you, before your eyes, in the land of Egypt, to Pharaoh and to all of his what? And his servants. You saw with your own eyes, and you saw what he did in his land, and you saw the great trials which you have seen. Ra'u, you have seen with your own eyes. The signs, you didn't believe them, you saw them. The wonders, you didn't believe them, you saw them. And the great signs and the great wonders, Haim, all of them. Do you understand?
Right.
So it's a matter of you seeing it. It's a matter of the Most High showing you that I have told you. You saw it with your own eyes. Your own eyes have seen these things. Ra'u, right here. Look it up. See if I'm telling you the truth. Right here, Ra'u. Look up 7200 and see if I'm telling you the truth. Tell me if it's right. Hey, let's check it. Let me click on it and see if it is Ra'ah. There it is. The same thing. Verb, Ra'ah. To see. Literally. You understand? Depending on the context. You had sight of it. You saw it. You can verify it. You understand? So this is what we're on. We're not on nothing else. That's what we're on. So the Most High is not asking us to believe nothing. He's asking, he told you, you already saw it. There's no reason. And guess what? You're going to see it again. That's why nobody's saved, and that's why nobody's delivered. That's why everyone's under a curse right now, because you haven't seen it. He said, when you see it, then you'll know that I'm Yahweh. Then you'll know that I am the one. So for those of you who have not declared or understood that Yahweh is Elohim, no worries. You're going to see it with your very eyes.
Don't worry.
Don't worry. You're going to see it. So he ain't want you to believe nothing.
Right.
As a matter of fact, he don't want you to believe nothing until you actually see it. Does that make sense? Because he is the self-existing one. He don't want you to believe that he exists. He wants to show you.
Right. Show you that I exist.
Show you that I'm the one. You understand? So it ain't you don't need to believe that I'm the one. I'm going to show you. You don't have to believe that I'm going to bring judgment. I'm bringing it. When it happens, then you'll know. When I destroy these people, then you'll know that I said that I am the one who said it.
Right.
When I get rid of the rebels among the children of Israel, then you'll know that I wasn't playing. Then you'll know that I'm Yahweh, that I meant what I said. You'll know that I'm the self-existing one. See, because you don't know that right now.
Man, you don't know it, right?
But you go find out.
Hey, that's the next topic, y'all. The last days, and we go blast that book of Revelations too, like, because I feel like it's a lot of falseness, and I do feel like they took some stuff from certain books, Daniel, Zephaniah, and stuff like that.
Yeah, they took it from Zechariah. They took it from chapter number 6 of Zechariah. They took it from Daniel, chapter number 9. They took it from all these different places. So they're not authentic. They're not really something authentic. Okay, so.
Yeah, next week, y'all tune in, man. We talking about the last days and what it means, what the Most High, like the brother Achi'ka, he always shows us and tells us what the Most High requires from us. And everything that we talk about, he always takes it back to that. I see that's like a formula for him, and I like it because I want to know, like, at every turn, everything that we talk about, what the Most High requires from us. So all praises, like, we go definitely get into that last days. Let me put that on maybe make that my reminder, because I forget. I be doing so much every week, y'all. Like, it's outrageous, but not outrageous, but the Most High keeps me busy, keeps my mind from being idle, so I won't be thinking about crazy stuff. But all praises, man. We got into it. We talked a little bit about what I wanted the scripture. I had a couple other scriptures that I wanted to bring up, but the brother Achi'ka, he, you know, when he get on a roll, you just gotta let him go. You know what I'm saying? Just gotta let him go. And you know, he broke it down, and you know, we had a beautiful build and a beautiful conversation. And I think that yeah, like I said, I learned something new today, y'all. I learned something new. Like, and I stand corrected. So, you know, and I'm not above being corrected or even admitting that I was wrong. I was wrong. And the brother showed me where I was. Like, so all praises to the Most High Yah. This is the boy Abiah, the Sabbath. How about to say? I was about to mess it up, y'all. I've been doing so good. I swear I have. The Sabbath talk with brother Achi'ka, Moreh Achi'ka, excuse me. And what you want to tell them before we sign on off, man? Because we got something else to do.
Enjoy their Shabbat. Enjoy the festivities. The Most High did tell us that you guys are going to grieve because you cannot keep the appointed times that you desire. So you're going to feel bad about the things that you can't do, and He understands that. We are in exile. One of the things that we do want to understand, though, is that you don't want to get to the point where you're becoming religious and trying to offer the Most High something. There's a lot of people that are crossing the line by making offerings. They don't have any authority to do so. So if you're part of a congregation and doing that, you may want to separate yourself from people who are making offerings because it's an abomination to the Most High. But neither do you want to be judgmental against the people who are commemorating these times of these set apart Moedim, which are called appointed times. You know, we are to reflect upon what Yah has done. So this upcoming week is the Festival of Tabernacles. Some people are going camping. I used to go camping. We had some great opportunities out there and had a great time. And there's other times that you can do other things, but just consider what it means and what it represents. What does the coat mean? What does the Day of Atonement represent? What does Pesach represent? And here it is in a nutshell. All of these times are reflective of the relationship and have something to do with the relationship the Most High has had with His people, whether in the wilderness, whether they were in Egypt or in their bondage, and pretty much that's it. So, and then when they go into the land, they're supposed to have the first fruits. When they, they're out in Sukkot, it's to remind them they lived in tabernacles and Sukkots when they were out in the wilderness. Pesach, I delivered you out of Egypt, out of your bondage. Matzah, Feast of Matzah is dealing with the bread of affliction and bitterness and sacrifice, just remove out your house. Shavuot, the Feast of Weeks, is talking about the grain offerings and the time to prepare to set people free and to help them and defeat the widow and the fatherless. So there's a whole bunch of reasons why, So remember those things, Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. All praise to the Most High. We love you, Yah. We know you love us. We know that you got our back. We keep you in our minds, in the forefront of all our activities, and we love you. I know I can't speak for everybody, but I know I love you. So all praise. Like, I can't, like, I learned that, like, I can't, like, because some people they say they love him, but they don't, like, they really don't. So I can't speak for everybody, but I can only speak for myself. Abiah loves you, y'all. And I love my fans. I love y'all, man, tuning in, like, share, and comment, man. Hit the like button, please, y'all. I don't say it all through the thing because that's just so it's so like meaningless to do that. But y'all definitely like, share. I'm about to hit the little thing so y'all can like and share. But definitely like and share and enjoy, and come back next week for the end time conversation that we go have. Enjoy y'all Sabbath, the rest of y'all Sabbath. For all praises, Shabbat Shalom.
Peace.
Peace.
Praises go to Yah, all praises go to Yah, Elohim Yahuwah. All praises go to Yah, all praises go to Yah, all praises.
Hallelujah, Toda Yah, Barukatah, all praise be to the Most High God. Yahweh God is me, Iriah ben Israel. Giving praise to the Most High and no one else. Don't like it, don't care, it's Yahweh all day. Don't like what I say, then you can just fly away. Cause I'ma give praise until my dying day. Cause I'ma give praise until my dying day.
All praises go to Yah, Elohim praises now going through phases. The truth is contagious, the proof is outrageous. We bringing the truth to the layman. It's truth entertainment. Hit the booth and we flame it. Giving all praises to the Elohim of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Hoping one day that our people will wake up and take up the yoke off your neck. Open your eyes and then he'll guide your steps. Put your law in your inward parts and in your heart and in your mind, and then you'll find it's time to give praises to the Most High, Most High, Most High, Most High. Him and him alone, for nobody else is worthy. The God in light shining bright on the path to the journey. Stumbling blocks don't concern me. Giving praise to the Most High when I'm waking up early live.